Shalom and welcome to this week's video, which is in time for Parshat Vayetze. And it begins, Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva vayelech Harana. And Jacob went out, came out of Beersheva, where he had been living with his family, and journeyed toward Haran. And if you remember from last week's Torah reading, he's doing this because his brother Esau is threatening to kill him for stealing the blessing of the firstborn. This Shabbat also happens to be my bat mitzvah anniversary. So for a lot of reasons, Parshat Vayetze is very special to me. And one of the reasons is because of what Jacob says after he has his dream. Manora hamakom hazeh, Manora hamakom hazeh. He wakes up and realizes that God was in this place. How awesome is this place? Manora hamakom hazeh. And life can be awesome if we only look for the awesomeness. Now, when I began studying and learning Torah and other sacred texts as an adult, I had some trouble realizing and coming to terms with the fact that our biblical heroes were flawed human individuals. So imagine our beloved patriarch Abraham. He passed his wife Sarah off as his sister not once but twice in order to save his skin. Talk about a Me Too moment, right? Now, how could this man, considered to be the father of monotheism, who was blessed to be the ancestor of a great nation, do such a terrible thing? But then again, he appeared to be willing to sacrifice his son, but that's a discussion for another time. So as I said in this week's Torah reading, our hero, Yaakov, is running away from his brother. And along the way, he's transformed a little bit. The trickster becomes the tricked, and he works for his uncle Lavan for 20 years. So along the way, he marries two women, Rachel and Leah, and has children with their maids as well, Bilhah and Zilpah. He becomes a skillful shepherd and breeder and grows the flocks in such a way that he ends up with the hardiest of the sheep for his own. Now, when it's time for him and his family to return to his ancestral home, they flee during the night, which is not exactly the type of behavior one might expect of mature adults. Jacob still hasn't learned to face up to his actions. But in spite of this character flaw, or maybe even because of it, Jacob ultimately becomes the father of the 12 tribes of Israel and is given the name Israel. This week, Marvel Comics genius Stan Lee passed away at the age of 95. He was known for bringing a new type of superhero into the comic book world, a superhero who wasn't perfect. They had tiny weaknesses, like Superman had his kryptonite. But Stan Lee's characters had day jobs. They went to the supermarket, they failed at romance, and they struggled to balance their checkbooks just the way we mortals do. In a recent AP article, Ted Anthony wrote, "The likes of Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, Iron Man, the Ghost Rider, and the Incredible Hulk composed a catalog of human frailties. Schmoes who inadvertently or negligently wandered into the traffic of destiny. For example, Tony Stark was a genius inventor with daddy issues who became Iron Man, and Peter Parker, a meek high school student, had no idea how to handle the creepy abilities that came as a result of being bitten by a radioactive spider." No one is perfect, and just like our comic book heroes, our biblical heroes and heroines often wandered into the traffic of destiny. They rose to the occasion and learned along the way. We can relate to them because we're like them and they're like us. Just like our superheroes, we can love them and we can be loved just the way we are. Have a wonderful Shabbat.